Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag ReSynced on the ROG Ally X. Thanks to Ubisoft for providing a code of the game. Here I'm going for 1080p. Dynamic res, targeting 30. Let's do dynamic res later actually. Let's go all out. XeSS quality. XeSS quality and handheld high. And let's disable motion blur. Oh, it's disabled. Okay, good. T on. It's 4 frames less, at least here. But you get the better lighting. The indirect lighting is much better. Let me go full screen super quick. There we go. Yeah, I would probably use dynamic res with RT on if you care about that. It will be a lower resolution. But you get the indirect lighting. I mean, if you look at Edward's face under the hood, it's darker. The lighting is better. These are details, obviously. But it's ray tracing at the end of the day. It's on low ray tracing. We lose 4 frames with low. Although when you're moving and stuff, it's probably going to be noticeable. The upscaling is on auto. Yeah, if we're playing docked, 1080p, balance upscaling, 30 watts, RT on low, it looks good. 30 frames, I don't think it's a bad idea. But let's say you want to play at a higher frame rate, well, maybe we can get it to 40s, maybe, if you're lucky. We need to sacrifice the resolution, obviously, but this is night and day. Yeah, I mean, 40 FPS with VRR would be perfect for this. I think we have room. Yeah, balanced upscaling doesn't seem to be working properly. But the other option is to keep it on quality and use 900p instead. So 900p, FPS limit at 45, dynamic res, 30 to 50% upscaling. And on scalability, basically what I used on Steam Deck with higher textures. Again, this is if you want a higher frame rate instead of 30 FPS. I'm trying to get into the mission, but I keep forgetting that I have the markers Skyrim style. Ally X is better than Steam Deck? Well, yeah, definitely. When it comes to performance, at least. Buenos dias. Have you tried 1080p native low settings? No, I haven't. Random Spanish dialogue? Yeah, well. Considering what part of the world we're in this moment of time, it makes sense.
Wonderful. You're a cracked shot, Duncan.
Cutscenes locked to 30? I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. They are. Hidden Blade. No, they are not in Spain. They are in the Caribbean, I think. Yeah. Probably Cuba.
We must. We put together a training course in anticipation of your arrival.
Yeah, all that section in Central America.
Yes, of course.
Would you consider this verified? Yeah, definitely. I would just change the default settings to not have ray tracing on. Alright, so we're in handheld, 22 watts, so 900p, a target of 30 FPS with dynamic resolution on, automatic upscaler seems to be TAA, minimum resolution that is going to go with the dynamic res is 20%, which sounds very low, but it's actually closer to performance upscaling, a little bit lower than in one of those presets. That's because it's different on how, in this game, they calculate the resolution percentages. It's not per axis, it's per amount of pixels. So this is 20% the amount of pixels in total. So this is, again, similar to performance upscaling. Then the maximum is 50% resolution, closer to, yeah, quality, give or take, a little bit higher than quality. and the base resolution is 90%, so 10% less pixels at 900p, and then from there it goes from 20 to 50%. Frame gen is off, 20% sharpness, no motion blur, no chromatic aberration, personal preference, scalability, no ray tracing. Again, in portable mode, I do not recommend ray tracing. If you lower to 720p, you can enable ray tracing if you want to. Medium characters, no hair strands because it has an effect in performance, personal preference in this case because I want a higher base resolution. Very low pulse effects, very low particles because in ship battles it gets very hectic. Water on low, texture resolution on medium. I tried high and I went over the VRAM limit a few times. Loading distance, geometry and micro polygon. This is on very low because actually very low looks pretty damn good. It has a bit of pop-in, especially with micro polygon on low. Then screen space effects is on low because on low it starts having screen space reflections and better ambient occlusion. Light source quality, this is the amount of lights that cast shadows. Personally, low seem to be good enough, even at night. Shadows, these are pretty intensive, so I put it on low. On very low even, it actually looks pretty good. It has a lot of filtering to them. Clouds and fog, I lowered that to the minimum. It still looks great. Actually, not the minimum. Yeah, it's the minimum, I think. Yeah. This really, I didn't notice a huge difference. Then when it comes to terrain, the only thing that I didn't keep on low is deformation. I put this on medium. I think it looks pretty good. But these are still not the lowest settings. This is a couple notches above the lowest settings, which again, for a new game on a portable device, I think is pretty impressive. I highly recommend 22 watts. It gives you about 2 hours and 10 minutes of battery on a full charge. CPU boost is on, but if you want a bit better battery in less intensive moments, you can disable it. So welcome once again, but this time in portable mode. We're in Havana, and I'm at the top of the ship. And you'll notice as you're looking at the city that it drops pretty hard. It's adjusting the resolution in real time, but we stay above 30 FPS. Sometimes it might drop to 29, but let's go down. Excellent. And here comes the CPU heavy part. There is a good amount of NPCs, a good amount of geometry. So yeah, as you can see there, it dropped to 29 because it's adjusting the resolution in real time. But with the VRR screen and the low frame rate compensation, it actually feels pretty okay. A freaking portable device playing the newest Assassin's Creed game with the quote-unquote latest technology that Ubisoft has. Oof. So yeah, having combat here plus all the geometry is actually a good stress test, in my opinion. Actual more GPU heavy part that I found was the Salt Key Bank. Here we have that waterfall in the background, a good amount of foliage, NPCs. Well, the NPCs are way more limited in this area. But the combination of all that geometry packed in together, plus the vegetation, plus the particles, it drops pretty hard. But again, that's why the settings are the way they are. I mean, just look at that. It drops pretty hard, but again, this is one of those difficult parts that I found. I don't think it's a big deal. Okay, here we go. We're going to attack that one and try to board it. Which again, you get bigger ships later and more effects and stuff. But yeah, this is all I can show you right now. It's still plenty. But you get all that smoke, plus whatever the enemies are doing. Okay. Brace! But as you can see there, that's quite a few particles. But it looks freaking awesome. Let me see if I have something better to shoot them with. Oh yeah, I do have a mortar. Okay, let's get to them. So now, this is going to be more intensive because you get those NPCs, your crew fighting them, smoke everywhere. Again, it It actually gets more intense later on, because bigger ships, more enemies on those ships. But again, here we're getting a pretty solid experience so far. But I mean, yeah, the LIX is more than capable, especially on the CPU side, which was my problem on the Steam Deck. The CPU side was really problematic with stuff like this, but here it's fine. Even with the particles, the dynamic rest really takes care of it. But what about 40s? 40s, we did it with the 30 watt mode, but the 22 watt mode is actually possible as well. Just do, again, 900p, frame rate target at 40 with dynamic resolution on auto. Minimum res the same, maximum res is limited to 30%. And resolution scale, a base of 90, so it's a much lower resolution when it comes to the maximum one. And on scalability, I had to lower quite a few things to match what the Steam Deck is doing. So we're closer to ultra low than low in comparison to targeting 30s. And a more pixelated resolution, obviously, because it's lower. So I look that way. Now I look to the GPU heavy part, and here it gets very pixelated. Why? Because this part is GPU heavy. In specific, again, this is more of a stress test, whether it looks like it or not. But that resolution drop plus the draw distance limitation, especially, it gets it most of the way there. The thing is, when looking at the GPU heavy part, which is that waterfall plus all that vegetation, but it's way smoother. You could even lock it to 40 with the BRR. It's really freaking smooth in comparison to 30 especially. So yeah, pretty damn good. But apart from the GPU hit when targeting 40s, there's also a CPU hit. The CPU exponentially needs more power to do something like this. And in the CPU heavy part right here, you can also feel it, but it's not too bad. Especially when you're not looking at the entire map from a distance. So yeah, it actually feels pretty smooth. This is a good alternative if you don't like 30 FPS and you don't mind the worse graphics, especially when it comes to draw distance. So yeah, this is not a bad option at all. I think it's a fantastic way of playing it. And with the smaller screen, the low resolution is less bothersome, at least in my opinion. So I think it's time to go to the ship and do some combat like I did before. This time, again, the GPU heavy part will be when we're attacking other ships. And, well, all the smoke that happens in the middle. But just traversing and looking for ships, the GPU really is a cakewalk for the GPU in those cases. You don't really have anything to worry about when sailing. There's less stuff being rendered. But again, the closer you are to the explosions and stuff, the more the dynamic resolution will kick in. But here it's so freaking easy to render the environment that is not really a problem. Let's go, boom. So yeah, this is fantastic. Let's see, did we get him? I think one more crash will do it. Oh, there's another ship. Oh, jeez. Well, good. That's a better test. This ship is huge. Holy hell. Oh god, I'm in trouble. Oh no. Okay, let's board that ship in the meantime. You can do it actually, even if there's another ship. They patiently wait for you to board their friends, which I think is hilarious, but a video game logic. Let's do a headshot over there. Okay, I freaking suck sometimes. So yeah, again, we're getting 40s. Really, the LIX is not breaking a sweat with that dynamic resolution. And in these areas like this, you're actually getting less GPU usage than in sounds. And the CPU is doing nothing in comparison. So yeah, what do I think of Assassin's Creed Black Flag ReSynced on the LIX? With the sacrifices that I told you, you can do either 30 or 40s, even in portable mode at 22 watts, 2 hours, 10 minutes of battery. Or you can put it at 30 watts when plugged in and do 1080p instead of 900p. Yeah, visual sacrifices, but we're talking about a freaking portable device here. We're playing a new freaking game on the go with very good visuals. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic experience, especially if you compare it with the Steam Deck, obviously. The Steam Deck is a much lower resolution, much lower settings, and it stays at 30 less often. Because, well, you got less memory, you got a worse CPU, a worse GPU. Obvious hardware difference is obvious. So thanks again for watching this video. And thanks again to Ubisoft for providing a code of the game. See you guys. Thanks for watching.